Guys, I am actually amending vermiculite into the soil. You can see how dry it gets there. We watered this yesterday, and it's just that dry. The ground is that dry in here. We need something that retains some moisture. Well, hello everybody. Danny and Wanda back from Deepsouth Homestead. We're in Wanda's high tunnel here, and we decided that we're going to use this high tunnel to grow some okra in it. Wanda has successfully in the past grown a few stalks of okra in it, and I told her, I said, we're going to take the trellises out from down the middles of these two middle beds here, and we're going to plant the white okra in here. Now the white okra has turned out to be one of our favorites. So what we did, the beds were really dry. So we came in and took all the weeds out of everything. Well, we let it dry up first to kill all the weeds, and then we came through and took all the weeds up out of it. And I came in, and because I limed it last year, or maybe a year before, I'm not really interested in putting any lime in it right now. So what I done was, I bought 4 bags of Schultz potting soil per long bed. So there's 8 bags all together in here. And we came in here and dumped the Schultz potting soil in here. Now the Schultz potting soil has a 9-month time release fertilizer mixed in with it, which means that it'll be, getting some nutrition, because I can see one of them right here laying there, the little time release thing, and a couple, and they're scattered around on here. Well, because okra is not a nitrogen loving plant, I decided to take 8-24-24, and I put about 8 pounds on each side of 8-24-24, and then I come in here with a big large bag of vermiculite. We ordered the large vermiculite because you can get it in large or small, so we got the large. And it's a really good agent for holding water in the soil. Like you can see little pieces of it right here. There's some there. You see these large flakes laying around like that. That's the vermiculite. And they will sit and absorb water and hold water and help the soil to retain moisture. What okra doesn't need is high nitrogen. It needs high potassium and high phosphorus. And what it does need is it needs water to keep it going. So by putting the 8-24-24, we put a low amount of nitrogen and high potassium, high phosphorus, and the time release fertilizer has a little bit of all that in it. It doesn't really give you an analysis on the bag as to what it is. It just says time release fertilizer for 9 months. So once we done that, Ms. Wanda took yesterday and wet the beds down. I'm talking about literally soaked them yesterday. I came in this morning to flip it again, and it was only wet down about that deep, maybe 6 inches. And I told her, I said, and as I flipped it, the dry dirt was still coming up. I told her, I said, look, we got to do this again. So we flipped the beds again, and she's been sitting in here now for the last 15-20 minutes. She's taking a wand, just soaking this, just keeps soaking it and soaking it, and it's just disappearing. So we're going to let it go at that, and we're going to give the beds just a few minutes here to kind of get rid of some of the stickiness, I guess you would call it. And we're going to start making us a little furrow right down the middle of it here. And we're going to come in here and we're going to drop our okra seeds about every 6 inches apart, something all like that, and get our okra up. Now once it comes up, if that's too thick, then we will thin it out. But we like to go every 6 inches, because okra is one of those things that's kind of a really hard shell on the outside of the seed. Now I could soak them overnight and all that kind of stuff, but guys, I don't have time to worry with all that. I'm just going to put them in here. We're going to cover them back up, and this Wanda's going to soak the ground again. And we're going to just come by every day, put a little water on it, till we get it up and get it going. And hopefully this summer, we're going to be able to grow some big, tall, beautiful white okra in here. And our main goal is to do it here because the deer at Pecan Grove are so bad that keeping them out of the other garden and the Danny corn is going to be chore enough. And deer love okra. So if we put it here in the high tunnel, we're hoping that the insects will leave it along in here. Now the one thing we'll have to keep the doors open on occasionally is it needs pollinating. Now we'll end up having to, leave the doors open during the day, but we'll close them at night so that the bees can come and go and pollinate them. And the funny thing is, once bees learn where this kind of stuff is, we have actually witnessed, you get up in the morning at daylight and come out here, and as soon as it starts getting daylight enough to see, you open that door, the bees are already here waiting on you. Plus we have holly trees right outside us here that's going to be blooming here pretty shortly. Persimmon trees that's going to have blooms all over them. So the bees will just naturally be here anyway. So we're kind of hoping that we have a fantastic crop of white okra here this year. I know a lot of y'all in the past has watched me plant my okra, and I always started my okra seeds in the little Hoss Tool 192 cell trays, or 196, it's one or the other. And the reason I'm not doing that this year is because I'm actually planting them in the high tunnel. This will be like a greenhouse effect in putting them in the cell trays. Instead of doing the cell trays, we just put them straight in the ground in here, and we leave the sides roll down. It heats up really, really warm in here, and it warms the ground up. And by doing that, it's the same, basically the same principle as planting them in a cell tray. And this way we won't have to do the transplanting. It'll already be established in the ground here. And like I said, if we have to take a few up, we might, if we get them too thick, we may have to dig a few up and take them over to Pecan Grove and just experiment and see if we can find somewhere to put them and, see if the deer actually get them or not. But this, based on the conditions of our country and everything like that, this will be a more suitable food source, safety food source for us to keep, to keep critters out of our okra. So I'm fixing to get up here now. I got my breath back from turning all this. And I'm going to try to get us a little furrow down through here, and we're going to see if we can't get our seeds in the ground. Look at that dry.
And I soaked it.
As much as you soaked it, look at that.
I mean, 3 times this morning.
Yep.
It's still not totally wet. We're going to get it again a little bit.
Well, when we come back for this next one, we're going to get it. All right, guys, we got our white okra that we saved from last year. I don't remember which subscriber gave this to us. Came from Alabama. It's Alabama white okra. I believe it's probably the white velvet, if I had to guess, looking at it, the way it looked after it grew. Don't hold me to that now, because I don't know for sure. But I know one thing, it's good. My little tool that I plant with is over at Pecan Grove in the barn. I need to make me another one of them, I reckon. Keep one at both places. If this was my daddy would just take his hand and pour them down through there like that. He come from an era where seeds were plentiful. Y'all were wondering why we added the potting soil. It's so that the top of the soil would stay loose enough, it didn't get packy when we wet it, where the seeds would have a chance to sprout through the loose soil. We've got it all covered up. This Wanda came by this time and she said she made sure it was wet this time. She soaked it and soaked it and soaked it. Also went ahead and soaked the sides of the beds over there so we can get them ready to plant sweet potatoes here shortly. Not right now. The slips are getting pretty close. I told her we'd wait a couple more days on them. Probably start on this side over here, getting this one done, or either go to the other high tone. We may go to the other high tone. I don't know. One of the things, decisions. It's always something that you got to make a decision on. So anyway, that's what we're doing here in this high tone. Keep watching us, and let's watch this white oak grow and see how it turns out growing inside the high tone. Thank you guys from Deepsouth Homestead.